Hello, this is Tamara Walls Hughes, and I'm with the Illinois Small Business Development Center in Inglewood. And we're bringing you this presentation on today to go over the GATA pre-award process. So we're going to explain what that is. It is a process that is required through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity in order to get any kind of funding or grant funding through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. So we're going to take you through this presentation on today so that you'll be able to see how GATA works. GATA is the Grants Accountability and Transparency Act. That's what GATA means. And we're going to take you through the process of how to get funding through the GATA. So I'll be sharing my screen with you today. GATA pre-award requirements. The GATA, the Grant Accountability and Transparency Act, which is GATA, provides uniform guidance for all state of Illinois grant programs. So the state agencies are required to then manage the grant programs in accordance to the GATA and the uniformed federal guidance. Also, applicants or any grantees must comply with the GATA grant requirements. So we're going to go through that in this presentation. GATA requires applicant organizations to complete the following steps before receiving a grant reward. The first step is to pre-qualify on the GATA grantee portal. And then the next step is to actually complete 2 risk assessments, which include the fiscal and administrative ICQ assessment, internal controls questionnaire, ICQ, and then also the programmatic risk assessment. So those are the 2 actual requirements you must complete before receiving any grant award through the GATA. The GATA pre-requirements also include pre-qualification requirements that you must complete before an entity can submit a grant application. And then also, as we said before, the 2 risk assessments must be completed anytime before the issuance of the actual award. So you'll see a chart at the below that kind of takes you through the pre-qualification stage and then also through the risk assessment stage. So you begin at the beginning as a user authentication process, and then you take you all the way to then the end of that process. So we're going to go through that and show you that now. So pre-qualification requirements, GATA requires that an entity must, 1, have a valid FEIN number, which is a Federal Employee Identification Number. You get that through the irs.gov. So you must have a valid FEIN number registered with the IRS. You also must have a valid DUNS number. So you can actually get that through Duns and Bradstreet, and you can fill out the information for that through Duns and Bradstreet. If you actually do a search on Duns, it will actually pull up the website for you. Then also, if you will need a current SAMS.gov account. So this is through the federal government as well. So if you actually type www.sam.gov, it would actually take you to the portal so that you can either sign in if you've already done this before or register. So if you haven't done it, you will need to register in order to get a SAMS. Something to note though, that you need to do your DUNS first before you do your SAMS. DUNS talks to SAM. So once you do your DUNS information, when you actually go into SAMS and you've been cleared through DUNS, then when you go into SAMS, SAMS will be able to find your company. If you're not on any federal excluded party list, so you want to make sure that that's a requirement, that you're not on any federal excluded party list. Also, you must be in good standing with the Illinois Secretary of State if it's applicable. So you need to have a certificate of good standing with the Illinois Secretary of State to show that you are registered your business with the state of Illinois. You need not be on a Illinois stop payment list. So if there's anything related to owing the government with anything that puts you on a stop payment list, you must take care of this first. And not be on the Department of Healthcare and Family Services provider sanctions list. So these are just some of the things as far as an entity is concerned that you will be required to have or not be on. These requirements then are verified and maintained on the GATA Grantee Portal, and you'll find that at https://grants.illinois.gov/portal. So as the process begins, you'll notice in our chart here how you will begin your process in order to get the GATA. Step one is to obtain a federal employee identification number, as we stated. That's the FEIN, and that is free through the IRS, www.irs.gov. Then the next step is to register your business with the state of Illinois. So that will be with Jesse White's office, state of Illinois, Cyber Drive, Illinois, .gov, I believe, or maybe .com. So you can do a search for state of Illinois registration, and it will actually take you to that website. There will be a cost if you are just registering your business as an entity. So based upon the entity will determine how much your business, your assumed name and cost will be. Then step three is to register with the Illinois Illinois Department of Revenue. That is also free. So you can do a search in search Illinois Department of Revenue, and it will actually take you to the page on how to register. Step four is then to obtain the DUNS number. Again, you can go and do a search on Duns and Bradstreet. It will actually take you to the site to fill out the application. It's free. It's not that very long in detail. It really just asks you some of the basic questions, and also you will need to know your executive team and their entities and enter their information in. Then step five is to actually register with the System Award Management, which is sam.gov. That is also free. But remember, register with DUNS first. Let that get cleared so that when you go to SAM's and you actually search and put your company name in there, it will actually find you because it talks to DUNS. So you will go to sam.gov, and then step six, then you will register with the Grant Accountability and Transparency Act, which is the GATA, and that is free as well. So this is the process that you must complete. You only have to do it once, but then you must maintain it through the portal. So with SAMS, I know that you have to update your password every 60 or 90 days, I believe. And also with GATA, you'll have to go in and update your information with the registration with the state of Illinois. You have an annual report date. So whenever you actually report or actually register your name, that's usually your annual date, and you'll have to come back the following week, following year, I'm sorry, and actually register and make sure you update your information and then pay your annual report fee. So there are some process that you'll have to do in order to continue on. But going through this step and actually getting started, you will only have to complete this once. So step one, obtain an FEIN. So that is the federal employer identification number that is used by the government to identify your business entity. So in order to do that and obtain that, here's the link that shows you in the address where you will go to the IRS website and actually apply for the employee identification number. Once you get to that page, you will actually click on how to apply for EIN, and it will give you the instructions on step to step on how to apply, tell you which is the preferred method based upon the type of business that you're going to actually register. And you can then apply and do all of this online. So all of this is available online. Then you would want to, and it is also free too, to obtain then your FEIN or /EIN. So FEIN is Federal Employer Identification Number. EIN is Employer Identification Number. So it's the same thing, but it is free and you can apply for it online. Then register, step 2, register your business in Illinois. So this is where you will go to the Secretary of State with Jesse White to register your business. You can also register your business through www.2.illinois.gov through the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. There are some steps that you can read on the website, and it'll take you step by step on how to register either with the county clerk's office, whatever county you're in, but also with CyberDrive Illinois .gov, you will be able to register with the Secretary of State, Jesse White, which would register you for the whole state of Illinois. So in order to do that, you will have to know which entity you want to register with. So it's either sole proprietorship, general or limited partnership, limited liability partnerships, limited liability companies, S corps, or C corps. So you have to know which one you actually want to register for. And if you have any questions relating to which one you should register for, you can look at the step-by-step guide. It'll give you some information as it relates to business structures, or also we encourage you to speak to a legal attorney or a legal entity so that they can better explain to you based upon the type of business you want to start. Then as a sole proprietor, this is just a breakdown of what that means. So this is when a business is different from owner's full legal name, meaning that as a business is not your name, it's actually a business name entity that you're going to use in order to register as a sole proprietor or general partnerships. It is called under the Secretary of State, Jesse White, or also the county clerk, it is called a assumed name. So when you do that, you actually register then the name that you will be using to operate your business. Again, you can find more information on the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity website, and there is a step-by-step guide for you. To incorporate, in order to do this, as we've stated, you will need to refer to the Illinois Secretary of State Business Services. So there it is, CyberDrive Illinois, it's .com. So you will need to go to that website. You'll actually go and search to see if anybody else has the name. If it is available, then you can go through the process and actually register it. Again, you will need to know what type of designation you're giving for your entity. So you'll need to know if you're going to do an LLC or S Corp or C Corp. You should then also have support or get some information if you don't understand how they work with some kind of legal advisement so that you can register the right way. Note that some governmental entities, school districts, and other selected religious organizations are not required to be registered with the Illinois Secretary of State. So if you will have to investigate that just to ensure and make sure that you're not, and you will have to inquire about that, but you should check first. There will be a cost for incorporating your business with the state of Illinois, and the cost is dependent on your entity's designation. It's based upon what you're going to register your business with. Then any entity conducting business in Illinois or has Illinois' customers must register their business with the Illinois Department of Revenue. So if you're conducting and doing any business, you have customers, you're generating revenue, you will have to register with the Illinois Department of Revenue. So there's the link there in the website to register. You can register online at mytax.illinois.gov. You can actually register there. And if you need more information, you can always go to www.2.illinois.gov and reference the business page, and it will actually take you through the process of how to register through the Illinois Department of Revenue. This registration is free, so there are no fees related to this in registering. Then you want to obtain, as we stated earlier, the DUNS number, which is the Data Universal Numbering System. That's what DUNS stands for, and it is the official tracking database of all government contractors. So this is where everyone registers through DUNS. It gives you the identity of the type of business you are, and register you as that type of entity. And then if you ever wanted to do procurement or government contracts, you would need to have the DUNS number. So you can register the DUNS number through the fedgov.dnb.com web form, and actually fill out the form online, and you will be able to then get your DUNS number. It again is free. So having a valid DUNS number then will require you, will be required when you get to step number 5, when you register for SAMS, like I stated before. And usually it could take up to 1 to 3 business days to obtain the DUNS number, but if they're backlogged, it may take longer than that. But it is fairly a quick process. Then number 5, your step, registering with SAMS.gov. So SAM.gov is the central registration point for all government contractors and review of federal stop pay lists. So this is where all your data is kept. If there's any issues, individuals, this is public information, and individuals can see if there's anything related to any stop pays or things like that. So, or it will also, if you are going to procurement or trying to get a contract, they will run your business name through these systems first. And if there's anything that pops up, you will have to actually speak to those and clear that up. So in order to register a new SAMS.gov account, you're going to need then that valid DUNS number. That's why I was saying do the DUNS first, get clear on the DUNS. DUNS will actually email you and give you a DUNS number. Then you will need your taxpayer identification number. That is your FEIN number. So that, or some people get a temporary identification number, a TIN, but you will need your FEIN number. So you will get that through the irs.gov. Also, you should have on hand when you're doing your SAMs all your banking information. So banking information, including your routing number and your account number. And the reason for this is that once you actually receive a contract through the government, you will have already set up an electronic funds transfer, because that's how you will receive your funding through this transfer. Then you need a valid email address and access to a mobile phone, because you're going to have to receive a security code. And so when you register, it's going to ask you for a phone number. It will actually send the security code to your mobile phone number, and then that's how you will continue your process. To verify an existing SAMS account, if you think you've done this before, you can actually click on that link, and it'll actually track it, see if you've ever done it before. If you haven't, then you'll have to go to, not the DUNS, but I'm sorry, the SAMS, and you'll have to actually go to SAMS and click on new sign up or new client and new registration and begin that process. This too is free to register with SAMS.gov. So this is what, when you go to SAMS, this is what the page will look like. So when you go to SAMS.gov, SAM, you'll see this page. This is the page that it will lead you to. You'll see a button that says log on, log in. And if you're a new sign in, you'll still click on that button because it's going to take you through the process to actually create an account, because it won't find you if you're not in there. So if you're not in there, then it'll actually take you to the place where you can actually create a new user account. Once you do that, it's going to actually take you then through the step of SAMS, and this is the page. So SAMS uses this login.gov in order for you to sign in your account safely. So once you create an account, then you'll always come to this page. But if you haven't created an account, you'll notice there's a red circle on the screen. That's where you would create an account for SAMS. Once you begin and you've created the account for SAMS, actually it's going to take you through a process that's not on this screen. But when you create the account for SAMS in the beginning, it'll let you know, you'll fill out all your pertinent information, your name, your address, your business name, so forth. And once you fill that out, you will submit it. And then SAMS actually will follow up with you a little later on and actually send you an email. And when they send you the email, then it'll tell you to finish your registration process. And so it's going to ask you for your username and your password. So whatever you set up for your username and password, you want to make sure that you write that down and you don't forget it. Okay. So now, once you've created a SAMS.gov account, you will then log in and you will then register your entity. So the beginning parts is just to actually create the account. But once you get the approval and they have your information now, you can actually log in and you can use your user ID and your password and and register your entity. So there are several steps that you'll have to do. You'll get to this page here, and on the where the red circle is, it says register new entity. That's where you will begin, is to actually register your new entity. You'll know it's you because you'll see your business name or your name at the very top, whatever you used to actually create the account, that will show up on that top bar. Then you'll need to complete each section in your registration, and you'll need to click Start Registration to begin the process. So you'll see this page. There's sections that will have to be completed. So you click on the Start Registration, and it's actually going to take you through each of those sections. So as you're going through the sections, you will notice in here, it'll show you what those sections are: core data, assertions, reps, inserts, PLCs, so it's going to take you through some things that you actually have to do. It will show if you've done those things, and it'll check mark that they're completed or if it's in progress. So during this, you'll be able to see if everything is good, and they will let you know, and begin to process your information. And if something is not correct, they will ask you to correct that during the registration and update it. Once you've done it and you've actually submitted it and you're finished, then you will go into active status. So your active status then will show that you're active. Some things you might not be required to do based upon how you're registering your business. So you'll notice on our chart here that some of the things are not checked, or it either has a slash mark in it because that particular entity did not have to fill out those questionnaires. So whenever you register, you'll notice that it'll tell you the date it was activated, and it actually then expires then the day before your annual date. So every year you will need to go in and update your password and so forth so that you actually keep a active registration. So you'll obtain then an active SAMS.gov account, so that you can, and it usually takes several weeks unless it's really, really busy. So that's why you want to do it now when you're not in a rush trying to apply for a grant or trying to do something that has a deadline. You want to take care of it now so that you'll have time for all of this to get processed. There is an 800 or 866 number if you have any questions. 866-606 8220. So if you have any questions, you need to chat with someone, you can go to www.fsd.gov to get any of your questions answered. Then you want to submit a notarized letter to SAMS or SAM. So you want to register after your registration, after you get everything done, then SAMS.gov requires you to send a notarized letter indicating that you are the authorized entity administrator. They do have templates on the site, so you can actually use one of the templates through fsd.gov. You can actually print it out, put your letterhead on it, sign it, and then get it notarized, and then mail it into the Federal Service Desk. So you can do all of that, and the address and everything is listed there. Then you want to go to register with GATA. So after completing steps 1 and 5, you can now do the GATA. So you can begin the GATA and actually register then. So you need to take care of steps 1 and 5 first. And once you take care of steps 1 and 5, then you'll register with the GATA. So you'll go to grants.illinois.gov portal and register with the GATA, okay? And then the entities you must complete then these steps on the GATA, the authentication, the grantee registration, and then the verification of pre-qualification status. So you'll need to do all of that in order to complete your GATA. So, in order to be authentic and be verified uh, with this relationship between an individual and the organization, this is the step that actually shows the representation and is performed for each individual associated with the registration. So, this is where you will put your personal or your business email here, which is required on the account on the portal. Then also you will need to obtain an account and create an account. So there is a button that you will create on the website. And if you need additional help, you can always reach out to the help desk, and they will be able to help you if for some reason you cannot click on that button or access that account. Some things may require that you have to complete all these stages, so you'll see what that is. So this is what it looks like when you actually go to the GATA portal. So you will see these buttons, and you will want to, if you're creating for the first time an account, you'll want to click on the middle one, which is create account. So you'll go through that process and actually click on the button to create account. You'll notice that they'll show you a page that says create a new account, and then in that process you will fill out all of the pertinent information there in order to register. So you'll go through that and create the account step by step, including everything. Okay. Then you will receive an email from the identity management at illinois.gov to whatever address or email address you put on there to create the account. And if you don't get the email, check your spam or go to your trash folder, make sure it didn't go in there. And once you get the email, it will tell you to click to verify that this is your account. And once that email goes back to them, they will be able to verify your account. It'll show your username. You also would have created your password, and it'll show the email address that you've used for the account. When you begin then step 2 with the grantee registration and going through the portal and actually signing as a new Illinois public account, you will be requested then to enter that DUNS number that you created way back. Okay, and so you will have to put in your DUNS number, because your DUNS number is now associated, or will be associated with your Illinois.gov account. So any new accounts must enter the organization's information on the registration screen. But if you have an existing account, you can actually click on the edit button next to your organization name on the main menu. So this is what it looks like, that you will actually go, instead of creating an account, once you've done that already, you'll actually sign in here. And when you click in the sign in here, then you'll be able to go through that process. It will ask you for usage and term conditions, making sure that you are authorized and that you're able to go through this and you're authorized to be in the system. They're letting you know that all these processes are being monitored and that you should not be doing this illegally, but also that you are the user that has been given consent or is the authentic user. So you will click accept. When you do that, then you'll see this page and it'll tell you you're accessing GATA Grantee Portal with the Illinois.gov public account, and you'll see it blacked out, but that's actually going to be your business name or whatever you registered with, your ID. So anything that's associated then with the account, you'll see this because it is in the record. It's going to ask you to put your 9-digit DUNS number. So again, that's why I say it's important to keep your DUNS number, keep your passwords, make sure you keep a journal or something that's safe, so that then when you're asked these things again, you'll have them right at hand. So you will click on and type in your DUNS number. If you don't have it or you lost it, then you'll have to click on the button that says assistance, because they will help you to try, if you registered already DUNS, they'll help you to try find it or make sure that there aren't any duplicates in the DUNS. Then you'll see this page. This is your grantee portal registration page, and you will see then all your information. Much of this will be pre-populated because you would have already entered some things. So you'll see your DUNS number, you'll see your FBIN number, you'll see some things. If it's not pre-populated, then you'll have to actually type in the information, okay? So all of that. Some people ask, what is the Illinois Secretary of State file number? That number should be on the cyber drive, Illinois. .gov with Jesse White, Secretary of State. There is a hyperlink there that'll actually take you to that page so you can search your business name. And when you actually go there on that page under Secretary of State, once it takes you to your registration, there is a number there on your page that says Illinois Secretary of State file number. That's what they're looking for. So you will put in the numbers only, not the letters, just the numbers. You'll fill in the rest of this form and complete the rest of this form. At the bottom, it'll ask you about your fiscal year. So you'll need to know if you actually go all the way to June, and then that July starts your new date. Your end of the month is June, or either your end of the month is December. So you'll need to also have that when what your fiscal is. Then you're going to verify your pre-qualification status. So you'll notice this page after you register, the GATA website will electronically verify your pre-qualification requirements, and sometimes this takes up to about 3 or 4 business days. So for the initial verification. But once your information is in there, you'll notice that you'll know it's your page because your organization name, your GATA number is going to be, everything's going to be in there. And then at the very bottom where your pre-qualification, there may be some things that are required for you to update. So if your status is pending, it may be because your SAMS.gov account is still pending, meaning that you registered, but they have not communicated back with SAMS or the other way around to actually show that you're in good standing. Your FBIN number. So it will show you what you're in good standing with or is pending or whatever the case may be. Then there's these risk assessments. So the GATA requires entities to complete a fiscal and administrative programmatic risk assessment prior to receiving a grant reward. So prior to you actually getting a grant, you will have to do a risk assessment. So once you get the award, prior to getting the actual award, they will send you information on filling out a risk assessment that has to be completed before, during, and then after the application process. And those assessments include the fiscal and administrative ICQ and also the programmatic risk assessments that are required. So these are like questions that they ask you, they take you through the steps. The fiscal and administrative risk assessment, it's a page like this. It'll let you know the year that you're actually creating the risk assessment for. And then on the portal, you'll have to do this annually. So you'll have to complete the risk assessment annually. It'll look like this. It's the ICQ. So that's the internal controls questionnaire. And you'll see the list of sections. Each section then has questions. So you'll know how many questions. So in section number 2, quality of management systems, then there are 7 questions. And you'll have to answer those questions. There are 70 questions in total. Once you answer those, then you should have a balance page. So in this particular case, you will answer all the questions and you'll answer the questions so that then the total number at the bottom of all sections should be even. So in this particular case, it's 40/40. Now it's ready for submittal. So you actually click submit on the submit button. And when you do that, you will fill in and enter the names of your CEO or and CFO and persons that are completing the assessment. So you will type in the chief financial officer, the executive director, your title, whoever's submitting this, their title, and then the date, and then you're going to certify and submit. Then the programmatic risk assessments, entities must complete a grant-specific programmatic risk assessment for each grant award. And your state awarding agency will inform you of the timing of the programmatic risk assessment and minister of the risk assessment. So they will let you know when these things need to be filled out. With DECO, or Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, will request a programmatic risk assessment to be completed after you have submitted your grant application and DECO has determined to move forward with your application. So we've gone through the GATA and the NOFO question presentation. If you have any questions related to the GATA process, you can contact, if you already have a cognizant state agency or person that you're connected to with any particular grant, and speak with them. You can speak with who is your grant manager, but also the state agency with the state of Illinois. You can contact someone there if you have any questions. And then also you can always email at ceo.gataportal gata@illinois.gov if you have any questions related to that. You can also go to the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity website and refer to the Understanding the GATA Award process in the grantee guide, and there's additional instructions for you. Okay, so we just want to thank you for being a part of this presentation. The information that is on the screen now is just information to help you if you need additional services or assistance related to One Stop Shop, First Stop Business Information Center. There's some information here where you can call toll free, or you can actually email someone for additional assistance if you need to complete the requirement. Also, you can reach out to any Small Business Development Center, SBDC, so you can reach out to any Illinois Small Business Development Center in your area so that you can get some additional free coaching, counseling, and one-on-one advising services. You can always check to see what funding opportunities are out there on the Illinois Catalog of State and Financial Assistance, which is called the CSFA, and there is a link to go there to see if there's any current funding. And also, you need to connect to the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunities Facebook, social media pages, where they also update information there. So thank you again for joining us. My name is Tamora Walls Hughes. I am with the Illinois Small Business Development Center at Greater Englewood. Our website is www.gecdc.org, and our phone number is 773-651-2400 if you need additional assistance. Thank you and have a great day.